You're listening to Zen Supermom, the mental fitness podcast, and the episode today will be all about what to do, 3 steps to take when your child, your toddler, is hitting you. How to help them express their anger in a healthier way without yelling at them. Interested? Dive in. Hi, I'm Elena Gomez Rodriguez, and I'm a mental fitness coach for busy moms. And this is the first podcast to help you increase your stress resistance so that you can become a Zen supermom and simply do it all while staying calm and happy. Welcome to the Zen Supermom podcast. Hi, Supermom. Elena Gomez Rodriguez here, your mommy tantrum specialist. And today's episode is for those moms who are struggling with your kids hitting you. So if you have a toddler, young child, and they often use physical violence to express their anger or to catch your attention, and you have tried many parenting techniques, none of that is helping, and you cannot help yourself but just get angry in return. And so, of course, this becomes a vicious cycle and it's not effective, it doesn't work. So, what are the 3 steps that you can take so that not only you support your child in expressing their anger in a healthier way, but how can you do that without yelling as well, right? This is what we are going to talk about today. So first of all, I have to thank the moms, the super moms inside the Zen Supermom program, because that's where my inspiration is usually coming from. And this topic was coming up very often in almost every one of our group coaching calls that we are having 3 times a month. So I finally it hit my brain like, hey, duh, this is something that we need to be talking about, and it's something that I need to create content around to help everybody, because it cannot be just the moms that I'm working with. There must be more moms who are wondering the same. So that's where the inspiration is coming from for this episode. And before we dive in, I also want to mention, if this is the first time we see each other or hear each other, I'm not a parenting expert. So my experience is in healing the childhood traumas and increasing your mental fitness level, your stress resistance, so that you don't yell as a mom. You are not a momzilla. That's what I do. That's who I am. I'm in no way a parenting expert, because, spoiler alert, parenting techniques don't work. If you're still shouting at your kids, even after you've read all the smart parenting techniques, it means the work starts with you. And that's exactly what I do with moms inside my program. I start with them. And this is also where this process that I want to share with you today, like, what are the 3 steps to take so that you help your kid, like, stop hitting you, stop getting angry in this destructive and painful way. That's where this process is going to start, because the step number 1 is, first of all, heal your own trauma. Because I'm going to invite you to think back to the first time, or the last time. Let's think about it. The last time when you were hit by your child. What was going on? Think about it. Okay. And as if it was a movie, rewind it to the point, like right after they hit you. First time. And then maybe it happened, you said no or stop, and they hit you the second time. Freeze frame, as if it was a movie, freeze frame right there, pause the button on your remote control, and check in within yourself. What did that trigger in you? There might have been anger, there might have been helplessness, like feeling out of control, like this little human being who's supposed to be grateful to me that I brought it into this life, it's hitting me, like, what the heck? And I don't want to hit her or hit him back. Maybe sometimes you do, even that. But you feel like you would love to at least shake them really strong so that they stop it. Connect really well with that emotion. And then go back into your childhood. When is the first time you ever felt that way? Because chances are, if you are losing it, if you're losing your patience when your toddler or a young child hits you, the chances are it's not the first time that you were hit in your life and when you felt helpless. So was it your sibling younger or older? Was it your parent, one of them or both of them, who used to hit you when you were a kid, like out of nowhere? I'm working with so many clients who were spanked or hit as kids, and it came out of nowhere. Not even when they did something wrong, when they deserve it, and I'm using air quotes because, by the way, I don't believe that any child ever deserves to be a hit, because it's not teaching them anything. By hitting them, you're showing them it's okay to use physical violence. So then don't be surprised when they do physical violence to you in return, right? But I know there are moms who don't believe in that. I know, like all of the moms in my scope, you don't want to be hitting your kids. Maybe sometimes you cannot help yourself, but you don't want, you know it's wrong, right? But was it what was happening to you when you were a kid? That's what I'm interested in this first step especially, because you need to clean that up. Wherever it's coming from, you getting triggered, and I mean by that, like getting overwhelmed by uncontrollable emotions. Suddenly, it's like somebody presses a button. And it's not that physical touch that somebody hits you, but at that moment when your child hits you, you're suddenly like, whoo, there's a wave, there's a tsunami of emotions that you cannot control, right? For me, that is a sign of a trauma. So you went through that in the past and you could not protect yourself. You felt helpless. You could not fight back, okay? So if that's what was happening to you when you were a kid, even otherwise you had a happy, healthy childhood like I had. I didn't have any major trauma in my childhood, but I did have a brother who was hitting me. We were often fighting with each other. So not only, like, I'm going to accept my part of it, my share in it, right? We were fighting physically. We were very rough with each other. So I knew that the first time my daughter hit me, like it was coming all the way back to my childhood, because even though my brother was a year and a half younger, he started outgrowing me pretty fast and he was getting stronger than me. And I felt like I could not control him. I couldn't stop him. And it was painful. And he was even like pulling my hair out and everything. So this is not, by the way, why I have my hair so short, but we were very rough and it was very painful. So step number 1, realize what was it for you, and get professional help. Healing trauma is not a DIY. It's not even something I can do in a podcast. So this is like, sorry for the bummer, but this is something that you will have to do with a specialist, somebody who is experienced and trained at healing childhood trauma. And find somebody with whom you resonate, with their energy, who you trust, who has enough experience, who can do that, who has the proven successful track record, okay? Do not do talk therapy, do not do EMDR, CBT. That's staying on the level of the thinking brain, like understanding what happened, talking about it, which helps to a certain extent. It doesn't heal the complete trauma. You need to go and work not only at the thinking level, but the emotional, the trauma level. It goes deeper. Okay, that is step 1. Remove your own trauma about physical pain. Okay, once you do that, what the result will be is that when your child hits you, you will still be able to say no or stop, of course. Because it doesn't mean like, okay, now I'm trauma free, so what do you want me to do? Like be calm, be zen, and just smile and let the child like keep hitting me? No. That would be the opposite extreme. It doesn't mean that you don't yell at the child, that you cannot say anything. You will still say no or stop, but without getting upset with your child. Because the step 2 is that you will understand your child is not mean. Yes, they might be intentionally hurting you now, but that's only because either they are hurting, like something happened to them, their needs are not being met and they feel not heard. So this is actually one of their last tools, one of their last ways how to ask for your attention. So all of this, like whatever is going on for your child, why they are hitting you, you will get curious, because now that you don't get triggered by it, you don't get angry and leash out back at your child. Now you have the space to realize, okay, why is this happening? Why is he or she hitting me? And especially if it's something that's happening on a daily or a regular basis. Okay, so example, case study. One of my clients who brought this up actually maybe 2-3 weeks ago in a group call. It was happening with her daughter when she was taking her in the afternoon from the daycare center. Okay, so her daughter is 3 years old? Yeah, about 3. And every afternoon after she picked her up from the center, and carrying her in her arms because she has then a baby in a stroller, then her daughter would be hitting her. And she was desperate because she couldn't even stop her at that situation because she had only one hand and she was holding her with that one arm, so she couldn't even stop her. It was very frustrating for her. So she had to she felt she didn't have any other tools before we started working together on that. She felt like the only thing she could do was to yell at her daughter, and she didn't even want to do that because it was in public place. There were lots of other parents coming and going from the daycare. So she was usually like holding the anger in until they got into the car, and when they got in the car, full-blown momzilla attack, and she got so angry with her daughter, and it was just happening every day, and she was desperate. Like, I thought I was a smart woman, but there's something I'm missing and I cannot figure it out. I need help. Okay, so when she was calm, once we cleaned up the trauma piece first, step 1, we could go to step 2. And in a calm situation, when we were in that group call, I was checking with her. Well, why do you think, if you step in your daughter's shoes, now let's empathize with your daughter. What do you think is going on for her? And especially if it's happening every day at the same time, why do you think she's getting so angry? Or what is the emotion behind her hitting you? Okay. And she realized, well, first of all, it's at the end of a day, which for a toddler or a very young child, it's emotionally exhausting. They have to behave. There are lots of other kids, lots of noise, lots of overwhelm and stimulation. So she's tired, okay? Second, usually she's not ready to leave the daycare. She still wants to play. So that's where already my client was getting a little bit upset every day, every evening, because her daughter wouldn't listen to her. So she already had to yell at her to bring her, like, okay, time to leave, time to go home. So that's where already it started. The negative energy exchange between them in their relationship, it already started there. So we figured out a way how she could prevent that from happening, how she could come with an energy that is calm, loving, even though it was the end of my client's day, right? She was coming straight from work, so she was full of her stuff. So I gave her some tips, and she figured out her own plan that would fit her, how to calm down and how to get in her loving mommy energy before she went to the daycare center to pick her daughter up, right? And then we were the next one. She was empathizing. When she was empathizing with her daughter, she was realizing, like, what is the need? What is my daughter needing at that point that she's not getting? And so she feels like she needs to ask for it in this way, okay? So this was the second step. Empathize with your child and prepare in advance, especially if it's something happening very regularly. Start seeing through the patterns, start replaying those scenarios, and start looking for the clues like a detective. What is going on for my child, and how is it that I can anticipate and prepare in advance, so that this situation develops as less often, as less frequently, and less intense as possible. Okay, what is it in it that I can do as a mom to avoid it even happening? Okay, not to turn you into a control freak. It will still happen. It's sometimes that your child will lose it and you will not even see it coming because you did everything perfectly. This is not to blame you, like it's your fault because you're stressed out and you're tired at the end of the day. No. It's not the case, okay? But you can do a lot by cleaning up your own energy and anticipating and seeing underneath your child's anger, what is behind it, okay? Or maybe they are not angry, they're just asking your attention. Maybe you're on a phone, not giving them your attention, so they have to come and start hitting you because as little ones, they feel like they have no other power to get your attention, right? So what is it for them? And can you help them meet their need before they feel like they need to ask it in this way by hitting you? Okay, make sense? Good. So this was step number 2. And then step number 3, for those situations that you cannot anticipate, that you cannot manage and dissolve and neutralize in advance, when they will still hit you. Okay. So first of all, you're not going to yell because you know why that's wrong, right? Or I don't want to say wrong because there is no right and wrong, and I don't want to blame you or make you feel guilty because you're most likely already feeling guilty anyways. It's not wrong, but it's not effective and it's not healthy, okay? We can agree on that, I think. You don't want to yell at them because that gives your child a lesson. It's okay to raise your voice when you're angry. That's what you're teaching them effectively, right? So then don't be surprised when they start yelling, when they get angry, right? You taught them. You showed them. You're angry equals yelling. So then they are so good at learning, or at observing and copying what we do. We are their role models, right? This is one of the biggest reasons why you don't want to yell. The second big reason is the moment you yell at your child, you make them feel like wrong, that there's something wrong with them. And whatever nasty thing you tell them with a raised voice, they will not realize that it's actually you, your stress, your trauma, you not being able to handle your emotions. They will not stop loving you. They will stop loving themselves because they will believe you that it's true. Yeah, I'm a bad girl. I'm a bad boy. It's not okay to show that I'm angry. I'm not accepted when I have big emotions, when I cry. Like parents who even don't yell but tell their kids like, stop crying or calm down or don't be angry. Please, there's tons of parenting and psychology theories on that. Never tell your kids to not feel negative emotions in any way. Because if that's what you're doing, if that's what you've been told as a kid, again, going to step 1, cleaning your own childhood pain. If that's what your parents told you when you were a child, that it's not okay, you will not be accepted, you will not be loved if you express any negative emotions, most likely you grew up into being the good girl, air quotes. You grew up to be the people pleaser and avoider. You're avoiding having negative emotions, showing negative emotions, asking for what you need because you were afraid of being rejected, right? You were the people pleaser, trying to please and anticipate everybody else's needs just so that they don't get angry with you and that you know how to be the good girl because you hated being punished for not being a good girl, right? That's what happens when you yell at your kids now as well. They will either turn into good girls, good boys, because they will not want to make their mommy angry, or they will escalate. They will match you in your anger and their anger will get even stronger because their needs are still not being met. You yelling at them does not make them feel any better. So if they ever needed the connection and your attention to feel better, and what they get is they yell, they will just escalate and it will be getting worse and worse and worse, which is the point where usually most of the moms find me. Usually I'm working with moms of toddlers and young kids because they are feeling like it's been going on for months and years and it's getting worse. They start yelling more and more at their kids, it's not working, and their kids start yelling and hitting back. It's a vicious cycle. They are learning from you. That's why you don't want to yell, okay? But then, so how do you teach your kids how to express their negative emotions in a healthy way, okay? Because we want them to express negative emotions. You should be expressing your negative emotions in a healthy way without harming anybody else and not you. How to do that? How can you teach your kids if you were not taught, if you didn't learn it as a kid? So this is another thing that we are doing inside the Zen Supermom program, right? But just for you here, as a brief outline, I would suggest, especially if you're really having young kids from anywhere between 2 to 7, from 2 to 6 or 2 to 7, if you haven't done it yet, there are tons and tons of books about emotions, okay? When they talk about not just the happy and excited and surprised, but they talk also about what it means being sad, what it means being angry, and they show all the facial expressions, and that's how anger shows up. And while you read that with your child or look at the pictures, depending on the age of your child, I would encourage you to invite them and brainstorm with them to see, well, how would you like to show that you're angry? the next time you feel that way. And you can tell them, like, look, this is what I can be doing. Like, whenever I get angry, I will be, I can do this, okay? And this is the first thing to do, like, you can do this. And you can tell them, okay, this is what I will do the next time I feel angry before I yell at you, okay? Mommy is going to do her best, okay? So rather than yelling at you, I'm going to do this. What do you want to do the next time you get angry with me or anybody else or anything? Okay, and you ask them. And ideally, it would be like something they can do anywhere, at any time, at any point. I know there are lots of moms who are setting up even special corners in their kid's bedroom where they can put special pillows and this emotions book, just so that the child can go and get calm by themselves. I'm not too much a fan of that. And again, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not a parenting expert. I know there's probably like some psychological reasons around that. Where I don't like this approach is, first of all, it's not replicable everywhere, because what if your child gets angry with you on the street? Like, you cannot send them to the room in their calm corner, like, go and calm down. So you cannot use it at any time, anywhere, which is what you need, because it can happen anytime, anywhere, and you don't want to wait until you go home to, it's like, okay, wait until you get home into your corner, there you can be angry. So that doesn't work for me. And the second reason why it didn't work for me was that it gives the child a message like, go and sort it out by yourself, which at the age of 2 to 7, 8, it doesn't work. Because it tells them, like, you're not accepted, I don't approve of your anger, I don't want you around here, just go to your room and come back when you're happy and calm again. What is the message that gives you? If your parents ever told you that when you were a kid, how did that make you feel? Seriously. Most of my clients tell me, well, unloved, unwanted, I'm not accepted the way I am, I have to become good girl, people pleaser, anything, I have to shut up, and I cannot cry. So right now, like, those are all hyperachieving moms. Yeah, they learned how to shut down their emotions, especially the negative ones. But they're completely disconnected. They're burning out. Like, there's so many consequences of suppressing your emotions, right? And detaching, like feeling alone with them, this is what it's doing to your child. Like, kind of like, go and figure it out by yourself. I don't want you around when you're angry. They need exactly the opposite. Usually 99% of the cases when your child is hitting you is because they need the opposite. The more destructive, negative behavior they show you, the more they need your love. Just let that sink in. The more negative, destructive, unwanted behavior from your perspective, so I'm putting the unwanted in air quotes, the more of like undesirable reaction they have, the more they need your love, not your yelling, not your anger. Okay? Because the more it means they are hurting, their needs are not being met. And usually the most deepest, most profound need that every child has is feeling the connection, feeling seen, heard, understood, and loved and appreciated, no matter what. Even if they mess up, even if they are angry, they need to feel like, I can show up being me and mom will still love me. Okay, this goes deep. Because imagine you had parents you were able to do that for a year. How would you be different now? Knowing that you are whole, complete, and perfectly imperfect that you were as a child. Every child is born perfect this way. Anger, sadness, fear, anxiety, those are completely normal emotions and they have their place. There's a purpose in feeling them. But you need to learn to read them as signs. To get curious, there's something underneath that I'm not seeing. This is why this emotion is coming up, to let me know. It's a flag. So I'm not going to try to chase it away and not feel it because it's weak, or I'm not going to be accepted by my parents if I'm angry, but you will get curious about it. This is the message that you needed to hear as a child, to be accepted even when you were angry, even if you were jealous of your sibling, Even when you felt like your parents have spent the whole day outside working and all you need is them just giving you a big hug and not being on the phone, on the screen, busy cooking dinner, cleaning up, which are all these adult things. Yes, they need to get done, but all you need as that little boy or a girl is just to get a hug and to feel seen after this long day. Like, mommy loves me, she's back, and I'm okay now, I can relax, I can just okay. So you see, I'm jumping from you as a child and you as an adult supporting your child because it is connected. That's why the step 1 is healing your own childhood trauma, because that's what still gets triggered. And unless you do, you cannot go and effectively support your own child in creating healthy habits, how to manage their emotions so that they don't need to use hitting. Okay? Does that make sense? I think you got a lot of food for thought. None of this is an overnight miracle. So I would encourage you to have a lot of compassion with yourself, because you see, I know you're doing your best. That's why you're taking your time to listen to podcasts like this, because you're looking for the answers. You want to know better than your parents did. But most likely you're stuck, because you've done so much, you read so much, none of this you can apply. Like, all of these parenting scripts and techniques doesn't work in those situations. You're still getting angry, your kids are getting more and more angry. So it might be time to try something else. And maybe this is it. So go ahead, try it out. I'm going to repeat what we went through. Step number 1, first of all, clear your own triggers, because you cannot get angry. The moment your child hits you, you need to stay calm and clear-headed to see what is exactly that is going on for them. They are not out there because to give you pain, to cause you pain, because they're so mean and evil. They are not. They are doing that because there's probably something that's not happening for them, right? There's a need that's not being met. So that's step 1, clean up your own triggers so that you don't get upset in response. Step number 2, once you do that, you'll be able to empathize with them. You'll be able to find out why they're hitting you, okay? And you will be able to even anticipate so that you can neutralize any potentially hitting situation, that it doesn't even happen. And step number 3, even if it's still happening, you can help your child choose and learn a healthier way how to express their anger. You will let them know it's okay to be angry. Mommy gets angry sometimes as well. Let's think, let's play. How could you express your anger, or how can you let me know that you're angry the next time, okay, without hitting me? If you want to add additional step, once you get on the Empathize bandwagon with teaching your child about emotions, another great follow-up would be, and this was also one of our conversations in our group, the Zen Supermom clients, the group call we had. If they already hit you, it's great to teach them empathy and ask them to comfort you. So, for example, if something happens to them and they get hurt, what do? Like, do you caress the place, the spot, like blow it, give a kiss when they get hurt? So if they hit you, it's completely appropriate to let them know, look, like, you hit me on my arm, here it hurts right here. So come, blow, give me a kiss because mommy is hurting right now. Okay, they might not be able to open to it, like to doing that in the first place if they're still angry, but this is something they should get in a habit of, so that they have the empathy. You teach them the empathy. Mommy is not a superhuman. Yes, you're a super mom trying to do everything, but we hurt. And our pain deserves to be recognized. You have the right to show your pain, okay? Not by yelling at your kids like, look, now you hurt me, ah. But you can say in a calm voice, but in a voice full of pain, if it really hurts you, you can say like, hey, this really hurt, okay? And let them comfort your pain, okay? This can be a very useful add-on once your child is ready for that, so that they learn their behavior has consequences. Not to shame them, not to blame them, like, look what you did to mommy and it's your fault that I have a bruise and you like, no, but to show them that I help you when you hurt and you can help me when I hurt. It makes me feel better when I get a hug and when you give me a kiss on my wound or my bruise, right? So I think you've got plenty to do right now. I would encourage you to go and start playing with this. Just get curious. Don't get too upset. Don't let your own inner critic and judge beat you up. If the next time your child hits you, you yell back at them again. But what I'm doing with this podcast episode is planting a seed, so that you get these ideas. They start a little bit breeding, cooking in your brain, a little bit growing, and you start seeing the opportunities, how you could maybe incorporate, how you could use and apply what you're learning here in your real life. Because I'm all about that, like application. Let's live this. How many books and podcasts have you listened to? How many theories, parenting strategies did you read? And then it all stays just in your brain and you never implement any of that in your real life. Well, how can you then expect it to work, right? So let this be the thing that you start implementing. Okay, start seeing the opportunities when you can do that. And for those of you who feel ready to step into your own healing, that's step 1 that I mentioned, removing your own triggers, healing your childhood, and becoming anger-free, trauma-free, then just let me know. There are email addresses and in descriptions and places where you can find me, so just reach out and let me know. This is exactly what we are doing inside the Zen Supermom program. All right, so I'm wishing you happy, peaceful days, full of you noticing your emotions, the good ones and the negative ones, because they are all okay. Let's just learn from them. Let's become curious, observing scientists who are experimenting. And let's welcome the wholeness. You are whole only when you accept your good side and bad side, because by the way, there is no black and white. There's no good or bad. There are no good or bad emotions. They're all useful. And the more accepting you can be of your emotions, the more accepting and compassionate you will be towards your children having them as well. So I appreciate you for being here and being the generational trauma cycle breaker that you are, because you want to be doing better than your parents, so that your kids can have a healthier future and they can be more resilient and they can be feeling more whole and perfectly imperfect, exactly the way they are. I appreciate you, Supermom. Take care.